Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. If we have one person who can hear, that's a very good one. So our focus today is going to be on how can we focus in a distracted world. Very many of us know that today is like our lives have turned up to be more or less of a busy market. Everyone is shouting at us. Everything needs our attention. On average, they tell us that an average person is exposed to over 10,000 distractions on a daily. These start from what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, the five senses to be exact. And then we wake up saying that we need to concentrate, we need to focus, we need to do things, we need to better up ourselves. But we forget that there is a very big rate of distraction. And with distraction, we cannot perform, neither can we be. And many of us are holding this tiny ball that I want to call attention, hoping that one day, at least this ball will help us nurture ourselves. But the question we want to understand still, many of us say that the problem is with the noise. But I want to tell you that the biggest challenge is not with the noise, it's with the pull. And to explain this better, we know that regardless of regardless of these distractions that come to us, that are exposed to us, we have the power to focus. We have the power to schedule and do that of which we have set forth to do. There's a story of a small sparrow, and this sparrow wanted to build a perfect nest for itself. So what he decided to do was every morning she went out to gather straws. But every time she tried to pick one up, the wind will blow. It would blow harder and the branches will move. And when the branches moved, the sparrow could not do anything. Hours would pass, days would pass, and the nest was never built at all. So one day, this sparrow was asked, "What is wrong? Why is the nest not being constructed?" So, to its response, it said that it was waiting for the winds to come down. And this older bird that was asking laughed at it. And all it had to tell it that the wind was actually not the distraction. And for us today, the wind is the world. And it was advised not to focus on the wind without, but to focus on its ability and strength within. The power was not in controlling the wind. The power was in this bird to be able to control itself, to have focus from within and be able to build the nest. And since that time, after that advice, the sparrow moved ahead and started to build the nest regardless of the winds. And instead of fighting the winds, it acknowledged that it had to work with the winds. Today we are distracted. I have told you statistically 10,000 distractions. Many of us are trying to fight the distractions. But I can tell you the more you fight, the more you ignite. The power is not in fighting. The power is aligning our inner self to focus on that matters. I want to tell you that if you're out there and you're waiting for silence before you focus, you'll never begin. Silence, ladies and gentlemen, is luxury. But focus is a skill, and this skill can depreciate, this skill can be built. The more you build it, the more it comes easily and the more you thrive. But the question is, how can we focus in this chaotic world? The first thing we need to look at is you need to make your world small. First of all, many of us, I want you to think about a magnificent or a magnifying lens, right? A magnifying lens is out there for us to use. But the more you get that magnifying lens and focus on one thing, which is beneath it, everything around it becomes irrelevant. So making your world small simply means, can you pick up one thing that you want to do? At least for 30 minutes, make your world as small as that circle of light. Pick one problem, pick one page, pick one conversation, pick one task. I can assure you, as I think it was Confucius who said, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. The same thing happens when you want to focus. You need to pick one thing. If you're reading a book, if you're trying to understand something, can you cluster 30 minutes of your time with no distraction? You put off your phone, you put off your notifications, you silence your phone and go all in for 30 minutes. The more you do that, the more you realize that actually you're finishing a lot of tasks. Matter of fact, when you start applying the 30-minute rule, you become productive. Why? Because you shrink your world with clarity, which clarity expands your productivity. So all you need is to make your world small. As the analogy says, how do you put an elephant in the fridge? You cut it into small pieces. So look at the big task you have. Cut it into small pieces. Spend 30 minutes of focus, concentration, and attention. Remove all the distractions. You'll be surprised how you'll be productive in the day. The second way, you need to anchor yourself before you sail. Anchor yourself before you sail. If you've seen sailors, maybe in a movie or in these documentaries, or even on our own boats and lakes here, you realize that before the sailor sets the sail, he has to first check on the anchor. They check the ropes that are holding the anchor. They check the direction of the wind. And furthermore, they go out to set the sail. In the same way, before you start on anything, you have to begin by anchoring yourself. Set a clear intention as to why you want to do what you want to do. If it is learning a topic, ask yourself, why do I want to learn this topic? Ask yourself, how much do I know out of this topic? Ask yourself, what is the intention of even learning that topic? That is the beginning of self-anchoring. Ask yourself, why does it even matter in the first place? Why do I have to be part of this of which I am doing? Is it important? Is it urgent? Can I postpone it or can I do it now? When your intention is strong, you avoid 80% of distractions. And that gives you productivity and focus on that of which you are doing. The third aspect, after you have made your world small, 2, you've anchored yourself before the sail. 3, you need to protect your candle. Your attention, ladies and gentlemen, is a flame. And I want to tell you, this world we are living in, it is chaotic. It is full of wind. The wind wants to blow away your candle. It wants to blow away your flame. The 10,000 distractions are pulling you away from the things you desire to do, be, and have. They are pulling away from the things you've set forth that you want to cover. And this simply means that turning off your notifications before you do anything. Trying to create a tech-free zone. Many of us go with our phones in our rooms, in our reading rooms. Many of us go with our phones in the libraries. Yes, you can go with it, but put it in silence, put it off for you to be able to focus. You need to learn how to design your environment to protect your focus. The other day, I was having a talk and I was trying to explain how our environment, how color affects the way we think, affects the way we feel, and affects the way we act, which affects even our moods. It is psychologically proven. That's why we have blue, we have black, we have yellow. If you've noticed, when you go to certain restaurants, when you get in, you become hungry. It's not the aroma, it's not the sight of other people eating, it is the color they use in that restaurant. The same thing happens with us human beings if we want to focus. The color matters a lot. The environment matters a lot. Many of us will take time to go and look for quiet places like the library, which is very good. Some of us will walk into a quiet place, maybe outside in the compound, which is very good. Some of us will put on headsets, not listening to anything, but removing distractions and sound from outside. That is very good. So you need to understand the environment that helps you focus. The other within protecting your candle, you need to learn how to say no. You are not created to do everything. Are you able to delegate? Are you able to say no and pursue that of which you want to pursue? Because all you're doing, you're trying to secure your attention and your focus onto that thing. And every time you're a person who says yes, people will keep coming to you asking for assistance, losing sight of what you want to do as a person. I can assure you, never expect your flame to survive if you keep it exposed. You need to protect it because your flame or your frame is what glides within, it's what glides without, and it's what guides you onto that you want to do and have. The fourth thing you need to do is you need to learn how to water the roots, not the leaves. Many of us spend a lot of time trying to cure symptoms than going back to the root cause. We try to fix things at the surface than going to the roots. There are too many apps, too many messages, too many noise, or too much noise, sorry. But the root problem is often internal, as I said, about the sparrow that was trying to build its nest and complaining and blaming that it was the wind. No, the wind will come, but you need to learn how to anchor your inner state of being. And that starts by anchoring, by understanding your fears, being able to understand what you're thinking about, being able to have clarity onto the things that you want to do, be, and have in life, have clarity as to why you do what you're doing. You need to learn how to declutter your emotions. Do you even know them? I can assure you, when the root is dry, the leaves crumble. Why? Because the root is the fountain, it's the source. So I want you to learn how to take care of your inner garden, which is the mind. Do you have enough sleep for you to be able to focus? Many times we know when we prolong our nights, when we prolong our work, when we prolong our resting, we fail to focus because sleep comes out. It will snatch us from the thing that we are doing. Do you know how to silence the small voice in your head that says you can't do it? Do you know how to silence the small voice in your head that tells you when you start opening a book, it will tell you, no, first send an SMS to this person, first go on TikTok, first go on X, first go on LinkedIn? Are you able to silence that voice? Do you know how to act not both based on reaction, not based on stimuli? That's how we anchor the root. That's how we cure the root of focus for us to be able to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that focus is not all about controlling the wind, as we have seen. It is about mastering your inner compass. And mastering your inner compass starts by you being able to choose. The world out there will always call your name. It knows you by name. But not every voice you hear deserves your attention. You need to learn how to choose what deserves your energy, because where your energy goes, your attention and focus follows. You need to learn how to choose who deserves your time. Not every person is supposed to occupy you. Not every person is supposed to take up your time. Not every person is supposed to be in your space, because your energy determines how you focus, determines how you think, determines how you feel, and determines your productivity. So you need to learn how to choose what you deserve in your life. And that is the biggest thing that God gave us, the power to choose, the power to discern truth and wrong, good and evil. Are you able to discern? Because that's the only thing, that's the only anchor, that's the only key you need to have so that you can be able to focus. I don't know what you are trying to achieve today, but I want to end by telling you a small story about a man who was trying to chase his shadow. There was a man who always looked at his shadow and never liked it. And he always asked himself, why does this shadow always follow me? So one day he gets up and all he says to himself is that I have to eliminate this shadow. He started running. The more he ran, the more the shadow ran after him. He ran further and further. This man got exhausted. He got tired. He started panting until he collapsed under a tree. And in that stillness, under that tree, something remarkable happened. The shadow disappeared. I want to tell you that the shadow did not disappear because that he chased it away. No. The shadow disappeared because he stopped running. I want to assure you that direction is the shadow. And the running is our internal unrest. We are running each and every day, not from externalities, but from internalities, all the things within. But it's until the mind becomes still, not forced, but naturally, it will quiet itself. And distractions will lose the grip. This man fell under the tree and he stopped running. And when he stopped running, the shadow disappeared. So you need to learn how to understand your internal thoughts, your internal emotions, internal turmoils, internal conflict, and then be able to solve them. It's until you solve them within that you're able to focus. And focus, ladies and gentlemen, is something that starts within you. And once you anchor yourself, you start small, then you are able to have that candle, protect it, and the shadow will disappear. And those are the ways on how I personally, to focus. Those are the ways that I've tried to make me accomplish the things I want to accomplish. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying each and every day. And this is a call to all of us. Are we able to first understand our internal state of being before we start running after the shadow? Once you understand it, it will increase your level of focus from within and your productivity will be high. And that's how we focus in a distracted world. And that the power lies within us to be able to control within so we can control without. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And I would urge us to go out and start to practice on one or two things that we have covered today, so that we are able not only to be productive, but also to help us understand our internal state of being. And the only thing we can do to start on that one is to anchor before you sail. Anchor yourself. Two, you need to make small world every day. Make them small. Three, you need to protect your candle. And four, you need to water the roots, not the leaves. Thank you so much. And I'm very positive that from here we can go and learn how to focus and be productive in our day today. I'll take on questions, compliments, or any other insight that will be coming from the participants. Thank you so much. Anybody who wishes to share in an idea